Hello everyone, welcome to Lord Pogg Gaming, and I'm your humble host, Lord Pogg. As always, you humble me with your presence as we gear up for another free game that deserves attention. I'm sure I've mentioned this before in other videos, but I try to do a variety of different kinds of videos, and here lately it seems like all I've done are these. However, today's free game that deserves attention is different.
But this one here, this one takes the cake.
For one thing, it's not a horror game, which I know I'm becoming known for. In the past, I've seen comments asking me if all I do is review horror games, which I don't, but as of late, horror games seem to be the only thing catching my eye. That was until I came across the game I'm going to be talking about today, Saqer's Paradox, a demo for an up-and-coming RPG.
But wait, there's more.
Another difference in today's video is that it's my first interview, as I actually got Saqer's Paradox's creator, Ibrahim Al-Ibrahim, to do a sit-down interview with me. I hope I did well at pronouncing that, Ibrahim. With all that in mind, this video might be longer than the usual free game that deserves attention, as Ibrahim and I covered a lot of topics behind Saqer's Paradox. Before we dive into all that though, first let me do my shameless plug for the channel. If you're new here and you like these sorts of videos, and I get you feeling a type of way, then I'd be totally honored by your subscribing.
Totally?
Regardless if you're new to the channel or a longtime viewer, please leave a like on the video and share it around. Not only for the channel's growth, but so we can also bring more attention to these indie developers as well. Seriously, y'all. And I know this intro is already starting to run on a little longer than normal, but I've noticed a lot more engagement on my videos and an abundance of new subs out there. I'm already way past the 500 subscriber mark, and my heart is just full. So I want to say thank you all for taking this journey with me. And from my very heart and soul, I need you all to know I love y'all. Also, ring my bell for notifications and sign my guest book as an offering to the YouTube god known only as the algorithm. My guest book being the comment section, of course. And that's it. That's all I'll say. I won't harp on it.
Well, I don't like to harp on a subject,
I don't
but
care. It comes with me, never have. That's why they call me gregarious.
Without further ado, let's get on with the review of Saqer's Paradox. Saqer's Paradox is a newly released game on itch.io from creator Ibrahim Al-Ibrahim. It's a sandbox RPG that is still in development. As it stands now, Saqer's Paradox is a demo/promo that Ibrahim has released as a way of gauging interest in the project. I can tell y'all from experience that this isn't a long game, as the whole of it takes place in a single room. What sets it apart, however, is all the loving work Ibrahim has put into its design, sound, gameplay, and graphics of Saqer's Paradox. But more on that in a bit.
hold your horses.
When I first got into contact with Ibrahim about Saqer's Paradox, he agreed to do an interview about the game, which was instantly met with some hurdles we needed to figure out, as I live in the US and he lives in Kuwait, making it an 8-hour difference in our time zones. After we got all that figured out, I was able to learn about Ibrahim's background and what inspired him to make Saqer's Paradox. This is what he had to say about that.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me, Pog. I think I introduced myself, but yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, this is such a great opportunity to talk about Saqer's Paradox, and I truly appreciate the spotlight. Now, in terms of inspiration, two games really shaped the core of this project: Octopath Traveler and Four Swords Adventure on the GameCube. Now, starting with Octopath Traveler, like so many fans, I was absolutely blown away by its stunning 2.5D visuals. The way they blended pixel art with 3D environments felt like a love letter to retro and modern design. But while I adored the look, one thing that didn't sit quite right for me was the constant random enemy encounters. If any of you have ever played the game, sometimes I just wanted to explore the dungeon, soak in the atmosphere, solve puzzles, and not have to keep jumping into battles. So I thought to myself, what if I kept the aesthetic, but gave the players the freedom to roam without interruption? That's where Saqer's Paradox steps in. I think Zelda-style level design, where dungeons are deliberate, crafted challenges with puzzles and item progression rather than constant grinding encounters. Then there's Four Swords Adventure. I recently played it again with family, and it was such a blast. What I loved most was how each player had their own little journey, entering houses or dungeons and seeing something unique on their Game Boy screens. While that kind of setup doesn't translate easily on PC games, especially on platforms like Steam, I took inspiration from the feeling it gave. Cooperative problem solving, shared yet personal experiences. So instead of splitting screens awkwardly, I would opt to give each player their own camera and perspective, so it feels cohesive and immersive. That is if I decide to make it multiplayer.
We'll delve more into the multiplayer aspect Ibrahim was talking about a little later. For now, though, I want to talk about what Ibrahim was talking about in regards to the feel of the game. As someone who played Saqer's Paradox, what it reminded me of was The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Playing it on the mouse and keyboard, I could adjust the camera angle to be able to take in all the graphics and Ibrahim's beautiful created world. So I was able to play top down, much like A Link to the Past, or zoom in for a more immersive third person's perspective. The game takes place in a single cathedral that harkens to a Renaissance Gothic vibe. Stained glass windows shine light into the cathedral as Saqer takes on hordes of foes, and I was just blown away by the immense detail put into the surroundings. They are beautiful, y'all. The sheer amount of work Ibrahim put into the setting cannot be understated. This is what he had to say about this design and the cathedral.
One of my biggest inspiration when it comes to like just massive architecture is Shadow of the Colossus. I just absolutely love giving the players, the feel that they're small in this grand world with towering ceilings and vast hallways, a true sense of scale, all within a pixel art, universe. I don't think that has been ever done. Usually, it's like everything is like scaled down. Even Octopath Traveler, the houses, everything has been scaled down. Giving this vast environment, I think it would be a nice change.
I can't say it enough when I talk about the level of detail Ibrahim put into his world design, especially the detail used in the graphics. Why did these graphics instantly draw me in?
So glad you asked.
While feeling familiar, which instantly tugs on my nostalgic heartstrings. I'm a sucker for retro games, as y'all know. And if you don't know, then feel free to check out my 2 retro game review playlists on the channel.
Do it! Do it!
Which I call my R&Rs, meaning retro review. But getting back on track, Ibrahim's design not only feels nostalgic, but also completely original as well. Sure, there are aspects that can make one say, oh, that reminds me of that, while also feeling like this is a completely fleshed out new world with its own lore and backstory, leaving one wanting to venture out further and discover this new world's hidden depths. When asked about his world design and why it feels so familiar while capturing that original feeling, he had this to say.
One of my biggest goals with Saqer's Paradox was to keep it fully original. There are so many incredible fan-made games out there, like Pokemon Uranium or another Metroid 2 remake, you name it, that get shut down due to copyrights. I didn't want that fate. So from day one, this game has been built from scratch. Every sprite, every tile, every animation is handmade. No borrowed assets, no AI shortcuts, just passion, essentially. And I chose a pixel art style similar to the Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. I love the character proportions and vibrant tile work. So I decided to match the format across the board. Everything was animated in a sprite, and while it was new to me, it turned out to be a lot of fun. Now, here's the thing. Modern pixel games often throw pixelated characters into 3D environments, and it just doesn't mesh well. So I made a decision everything in Slider's Paradox would maintain pixel perfect consistency. That includes characters, buildings, environments, even dynamic effects like shadows and lighting are integrated in a way that doesn't break the pixel illusion. As for the entire development of everything so far, I tackled it solo in under 7 months while working full time as a software engineer. I had no prior development experience, just a belief that you learn best by building and breaking things. Every element, the sprites, the soundtrack, the trailer, the logic, the system, it's all me and a friend of mine, Jacob, who composed the two soundtracks. And I think that's something that we're really proud of.
Now, Ibrahim took me off guard when mentioning the soundtrack for Saqer's Paradox, as he read my mind and knew what my next question was gonna be.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
See, the music for Saqer's Paradox, from the opening screen to the gameplay, is masterfully crafted by Ibrahim's friend Jacob Hopkins. When I first loaded Saqer's Paradox up, one of the first things I noticed was the opening theme music, and how reminiscent it was to some of my favorite RPGs of the past. Games like Landstalker, for instance, on the Sega Genesis, which I've done a retro review on, and any of you Golden Wonders that are interested in that should check it out.
Do it.
Its melody and harmonization brought me back to a simpler time in my life. I let it run through a couple of times even, just sitting there taking it all in. I've had it actually playing in the background of the video, and just admire the work it must have taken to make this. Plus, the cathedral music is wholly a cappella, another aspect of the game's creation that astounds me, since for this being only a demo, the very fact that this much effort was put into its soundtrack really shows how much these indie developers like Ibrahim and Jacob put their own soul into their art. When asked to elaborate more on the music, Ibrahim told me this.
Yeah, so no, Jacob Hopkins was someone I connected to on the internet, and essentially, I don't have any background in music composition, and so it was mainly him essentially, and we went back and forth a few times, and the two pieces that we settled on was the ones that I sent you, the ones that we used in the demo. It's all him. I really can't talk about the process because I'm not qualified. But
Fair
he's
enough.
such an amazing composer or whatever the term is. And yeah, and that's the thing. Right now, although the level of production that he has with a cappella production is really good. I'm currently looking like down the line. I will be searching for other music composers that also work with a cappella. So if any of the viewers are in this down line of work, they can definitely get in contact with me if they're interested in being part of the game. Of course, they'll get paid. It won't be free work.
Yes, that's right. As Ibrahim said, any of you Golden Wonders out there who have experience in music composition and are interested in becoming a part of Saqer's Paradox, you can either leave a message down in my guest book, and or all of Ibrahim's information will be in the description below, along where you can find Saqer's Paradox to download and play. With so much loving effort put into Saqer's Paradox, One would think that's all. Great visuals, good music, but that's not really all. Oh, no. Something that's also sets Saqer's Paradox apart from your typical RPG, and demo no less, is that the one NPC the player gets to meet, well, and that's all I can really say about him.
Boo this man!
I know, I built you all up and then I dropped you just like that. You might be asking, if I wasn't going to elaborate more, then why did I even bring up the NPC?
Oh, well, allow me to retort.
Because the one thing I can say is that a lot of effort went into bringing this NPC into being. And my only hint to y'all is continue the conversation. Half the journey of Saqer's Paradox is the NPC, and he's a gem that needs to be protected at all costs. Even if our interaction caused me to do a double take, leaving me speechless by some of his dialogue.
What did he say?
Again, I don't want to spoil nothing, and neither did Ibrahim, so this was all he could say about the NPC.
Yeah, definitely. I love the fact that a lot of people are connecting with the NPC already. I don't want to spoil anything for those who haven't played it, but I will say this. He's got personality. I took inspiration from Undertale and even Deadpool, where dialogue goes beyond robotic instructions. This NPC is self-aware, sarcastic, occasionally helpful, and sometimes downright absurd. He breaks the fourth wall, teases the player, and even makes fun of the game's development quirks. And if you like that style, just wait. I plan to fill the entire game with characters just like him, each one unique, each one memorable. In fact, through Patreon, you yourself can actually contribute to the game's world. I will share the links with Pogg, so you could guys have a look at it. If you have an idea for an NPC, a weapon, an enemy, even a silly troll character, you can claim your spot and make it canon before the game fills up. It's first come, first serve, and a fun way for the community to leave a personal mark on the game. More on the NPC, this NPC itself. It's just, it's a nice way to kind of, have the player, stay away from all the fights and whatnot and just have, something to laugh at. Me personally, I hate talking to NPCs in games where it's just, they're talking about nonsense, God knows what. And having something like that, being encountered every now and then is a nice touch. As for is it based on someone in real life? No, it's something silly that I had in mind where, I knew I had one NPC that I can put in the demo because like I've been working on everything like, simultaneously. And this character, I knew it had to have everything, just every single thing I could put into this character. I would have to have the viewer, know what the game is capable of. And voila, that's the end product.
As you Golden Wonders heard, on top of offering to feature your music in Saqer's Paradox, there's also a Patreon that you can join, so you can put your very bones into this game. Artwork, characters, weapons, and the like. That's why, in all honesty, the game isn't so much of a demo as it's a promo. It's a game that anyone and everyone can be a part of, and as I'm always saying on this channel, gaming is what unites us, beyond our politics, beliefs, and the real-world issues that are strive to drive a wedge between us. This is why I believe in Saqer's Paradox, because it's what Ibrahim is offering, and the very foundations that my channel is built on. But let's hear it directly from him.
Yeah, to put it simply, the promo was a test of interest, a way to gauge whether this game has an audience before investing months into it. I know it sounds strange, but in indie development, especially with niche or experimental games like Its Paradox, it's easy to pour your soul into something. So instead of going in blind, I released the demo for free. Not because I don't think it's worth anything, but because I'm not chasing money at this stage. I'm looking for interest. the kind of players who would see see the potential and say, "I want more of this." And the response so far has been really encouraging. People are slowly starting to recognize the game, and this interview came at just the right time to help spread the word. So if you're watching and haven't tried it yet, give it a shot. It's quick to download. It's less than 1 GB, and hopefully sparks your curiosity. If there's enough traction, I will definitely go into making a um, a full size game. Right now, it's just I'm in the process of promotion and getting in contact with people who can spread the word even further.
It really does feel like we've taken a ride here. Yet we haven't even talked about the most important thing yet, and that's the paradox in Saqer's paradox. See, for all of you who don't know,
here we go again.
Ahem. Anyway, for those of you who do not know what a paradox is, it is defined as a seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded or true. Sort of like saying, "He who speaks too much cannot be trusted," while also saying, "He who never talks is untrustworthy." Both answers can be true, thus creating a paradox. Both are proverbs and have been spoken by many a great mind in the past. And if you already knew all this, well then congratulations.
Check out the big brain on bread.
But seriously though, the reason I'm compelled to explain this is because what is the paradox in Saqer's paradox exactly? I have my own theory, but if and I'm being honest, we aren't meant to know what the paradox is just yet, since this is a demo. Ibrahim didn't include an answer to this question in the game. However, that's not to say that he doesn't already know what that answer is. In fact, he very much does know and told me this when asked about it.
Yeah, the $1,000,000 question. I can't give away too much, unfortunately. No spoilers, but I can share the prologue, and hopefully it pulls you in. Okay? Hear me out. Picture this: a betrayal, a mystery, a fight for truth. On the day of his greatest triumph, Saqer is poised to become a commander knight, a symbol of honor and loyalty. But in one devastating moment, everything falls apart. A lifeless king, a bloody dagger, and Saqer standing over the body, branded a traitor, haunted by those he once served. Now he must uncover the conspiracy that ruined his life. Who framed him? Why? And who is the masked figure that haunts his dreams? The truth is out there, but time is running out. That's all I have to say.
So from the incredible artwork of Saqer's, which means falcon, as Ibrahim informed me.
That's a great question. It's pronounced Saqer with a soft A, like Saqer. It's actually Arabic for falcon, which ties the game's name, Falcon's paradox, essentially. If you look closely at the main character's armor and the logo, you'll see subtle Falcon-themed design cues throughout the visuals.
So everything Saqer, with that soft A, y'all, has to offer is built from scratch. In a time where AAA studios have seemingly abandoned their fans for their own self-righteous pats on the back,
What the hell is even that?
Ibrahim strives to offer something of worth to the gaming community. And let me tell y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, he's a really great and humble man, as I got to know him during our interview.
So actually, so prior to me, I work full-time as a software engineer at a bank. And prior to me even going to university, I used to, like, as a hobby, I used to draw on DeviantArt. It's like a well-known website known for artists to upload and submit their artworks. It's just a community for artists of all mediums, digital and whatnot. And I stayed on that website, and I used to do that like religiously. Every weekend, I would submit an artwork, and similar to how you do it, like on the weekend, you try to squeeze in like a video, and you submit it by the end of it. Um, I used to do that like across 5 years, 5 to 6 years, and I learned a lot from it. Um, Now, when I went to university, I didn't have as much time, and also the fact that engineers typically, or like jobs for engineers, are typically more in demand than digital artists and such majors. And so I just left that altogether. But now that I started working on this game, it kind of like rekindled this little fire that I had inside of me of like drawing it again. It's sort of like a gamble because again, even where I'm at, I'm in from Kuwait, and the game development usually, if you look at it, usually um, it's centered like most games come from Japan, right? And the indie developers are usually located like in the US, and you'll see some indie developers like in Europe and some other parts of the world. But I would say these two regions are like the that has like the biggest traction. And so in Kuwait, like there isn't like a really big community for indie developers. There are a lot of people here that play game, but indie development is very rare. So I was like, it needs to have some sort of like recognition online before I could bring it here. Because if I start, I don't know, going public, um, it and then trying to go back like through YouTube or whatnot, I don't think it would like go that well. Um, so I'm really happy that a lot of people are starting to enjoy it, and I'll wait like a few more days maybe or a week and see how that goes, and then I'll go back to development because right now I'm just promoting everything. But I'm really happy that you played it twice, and most likely other people have also played it a couple times. At this point, I think we need to like set up a community to see like the records, like the world records for finishing the demo. Yeah, I might like the all the other like the next updates will probably be like early access sort of a version of the game where I think it will only be like if I were to go about this, I will definitely do this. Like I think achievements is a nice way to sort of like have the players keep track of what they've done. But most likely it's gonna be on Patreon for like the members. But I'll look into it. It won't be on Steam just yet because on Steam, I mean, you could have it like for early access, where you could have the game early access, but I don't want to charge people the full price of the game. It doesn't sit well with me. I don't feel like it. I would be comfortable if I charged people the full price of the game, and the game's still not done. If God forbid something happens and I don't finish the game, it just wouldn't sit well with me. Instead, I think having like an early version where people on Patreon could have like the latest version of like testing things, or like at least some portions of the mechanics. I think that would be a more suitable. I think more makes more sense. I think.
Yes, I played Saqer's Paradox twice. Once just to see all that it had to offer, and then to speedrun and see how fast I could clear the enemies. Also, Ibrahim plans on making Saqer's Paradox multiplayer, which is extremely ambitious on his part.
That's something that I saw with like in older games. It made sense because you had only one screen, one monitor, usually like a TV that you would play looking at. Right now, we through the power of technology, um, you'd have a lot of people that when they play multiplayer, they play through different screens. And same thing with Four Swords. Four Swords, they had the difference with Four Swords was that they had the Game Boy, uh, inputs into the game, and so they could look when they enter a cave or a house, they could see that on their Game Boy, color or advanced. and that wouldn't work with Steam, but that would work back then. But the issue with that is that only selected places would view on the Game Boy that they had, but you can't go to a different location unless everyone is together, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
With this, everyone has their own camera. They could go. I could like essentially, like for example, the castle set. It's massive. I could, for example, for the door at the very end, I could, you know, ensure that everyone has to be there, or I could program it so that when someone goes there and hits X, for example, it notifies all the players and asks them, "Are you ready? You could leave together." They don't have to manually go there, spend time. They could be like all at the very like early part of the castle, so they don't have to walk all the way there. They could just like sort of teleport, just for convenience, and just like for the game progression to go in the correct order. But but yeah, everyone would have their own camera, so you don't have to be stuck together or like you'd have to be like in a certain range to go somewhere. And moreover, the like entering houses. This is something that I very much wanted to have in the game. Um, it's very easy for someone to just make, I don't know, a game with just like these, these architecture or these models of houses. But you can't go inside of them. I hated that. I like to go inside the house and I don't know, break stuff, throw pots around.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It just feels like, you're investigating the place or whatever, you're, exploring the place. And I want that experience for every player, not just for one player, where when they go into a house, they have to, everyone has to go into the house. No, you're not, you're not obligated to, to be this companion of this player. Everyone has to go. Like they can go into their own way. Someone could go and to the merchant, and they could buy whatever they have over there. They can go upgrades. They can go to the blacksmith, and yeah.
To put that into perspective,
Too much. There's too much fucking perspective now.
what this means is that much like in Dungeons and Dragons, the group while in town can each go their own separate ways, talk to their own NPCs, sell items, and so on. If an investigation needs to take place, but not everyone is into doing that, then the players who are can go conduct their own inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
While the players who want to upgrade their armor, buy potions, or just go smash some pots in search of items, then they then can do so without worrying about having to escort those players who want to further the game's plot, which serves to make this game even bigger in skill if you think about it from a multiplayer perspective. And I'm just extremely excited to see where that goes. So before ending the interview, Ibrahim did have a final few things to share, making a promise to those who will back this project, whether it be through Patreon or by simply playing the game and getting the word out there. He cares about the project and he cares about the audience and the gaming community. Oftentimes, someone and or company will begin a passion project that becomes lightning in a bottle.
I got that, dog. Lightning in a bottle. Blip.
Eventually, whether it be because of money and or appeasing an empty self-righteousness, they end up doing what we like to call selling out. Yet Ibrahim, who isn't doing this for any reason other than his love for the art, has no intentions of ever doing so.
To kind of point out is that, I mentioned the copyright, like this thing, you don't have to worry about this being, strike down. It's completely original work. It's not a fan-made game like, a lot of these remakes that are, made by fans. Given that it's indie, like there's literally no filter. It's just fans directly with the creator. And this will never change, like throughout the process of this game. I will never sell this game, even if it might like make profit for me to sell the game to, I don't know, a bigger company. I'd rather see it dead rather than sell it. I know that a lot of people might have like this this idea of the game when they sell it to a bigger company, it just gets ruined. Wouldn't want that to happen to Saqer's Paradise. If I ever lose interest in it, it dies with me. That's how I see it. So really, just if you're interested in making an NPC, a weapon, I don't know, an item, just head on to Patreon, and it's just like one two-way communication, and yeah, you could have whatever you want in the game. Um, be present. So
Those are encouraging words indeed.
well, I would like to thank you again for everyone tuning in, and also for Pog. Thank you so much for having me and for being part of this journey. For everyone that is interested in Saqer's Paradox, or if anything has intrigued you, even a little, I'd love for your support. Right now, you can download the demo for free. It's under 1 GB and plays smoothly on most PCs. It's available on itch.io and on Game Jolts. It's in the process of coming to Steam, but in the meantime, just you could find them on those two platforms. You can follow this project on YouTube, Reddit, and Patreon, and you can contribute ideas or simply help spread the word. Sharing this would be just as helpful. There's no team. I just want to make it very clear. There's no team, no corporate backing. It's just me building something I genuinely believe in. And while donations help keep the lights on, sharing the game is just as powerful. This is just the beginning. If we build a community around Saqer's Paradox, the sky is literally the limit. So let's bring it to life together.
And there you have it, folks. What more can you ask for? Not only is this a wholly original RPG, but it offers the chance to be a part of its creation, whether it be through the musical score, artwork, characters, items, and so much more. It's like Ibrahim said, if we can come together as a community, then the sky really is the limit. But I would disagree. I would say the sky is only the beginning. I want to thank all of you Golden Wonders out there who made it this far into the video. This was my first interview, so I hope I did it some form of justice. Not just for me, but for y'all and Ibrahim. It took me a minute to get this video done, mainly because of the holiday, so happy late Easter to you Golden Wonders out there. I know this was longer than any of the other free games that deserve attention that I've done in the past, but in this case, it was for the best of causes, and I hope y'all feel the same. If you're new here, then please subscribe.
Your daisy if you do.
As I myself am a starving artist and want to see this channel grow to its full potential. New or old though, please leave a like and share the video around to help the channel and Saqer's Paradox grow some traction out there. Ring my bell for notifications and sign my guest book if and it tickles your fancy.
No, please do not tickle my fancy.
And remember, although this world tries to drive us apart, and as such, we'll probably disagree on some of the real world issues out there, while we're here, none of that matters. Only our love of gaming matters here. And it's that passion that unites us, sets us on common ground. So from my very heart and soul, I want y'all to know I love y'all. And I would fight any horde or foe by your side. You're always welcome in my lobby. Y'all come back now. Stay golden.